This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
Brought to you by the North Law Firm. For car accidents and negligent security cases, call Joe at 239-337-1191. And by Lee Health.
Southwest Florida, welcome back to Lee Pitts Live. We're here at the Children's Network of Southwest Florida, the preeminent organization here in Southwest Florida that takes care of our children in terms of adoption, in terms of foster parenting. All those types of things are handled by the Children's Network of Southwest Florida. Behind me is the Caloosahatchee River. We're on the Fort Myers River District, and next week on the show we'll get a chance to talk to David Johnson, who plays on the River District. Great guy on the guitar and singing, of course, Neville Brothers fame. All that's next week. Speaking of this week, though, the Cape Coral Community Foundation has a Marine on his board. Let's get a chance to meet the Marine, Bryan.
Right,
Blackwell.
glad to be here. Cheers.
The Marine. Hey, Bryan, you carry that distinction with pride, right?
I do. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Okay. When you were in the Marines, did you become a lieutenant or a captain or anything like that?
I was a sergeant.
Okay.
So I was enlisted, and I'm glad I was. Made E5 in 4 years that I was in, and it taught me so much about discipline, honor, courage, commitment. I mean, it was all the things that they instill in you are with me today.
Do you find that those types of things work good with you in terms of what you're able to bring to the board for the Cape Coral Community Foundation?
I hope so. It's I try and bring all of my time, treasure, and talent to the board. Or any board that I serve on. So, I hope that as part of my talent, it's some of those things that I learned in the military, and hopefully I can bring them to the table.
You're out of the military now.
I am.
You don't work full-time for the Cape Coral Community Foundation. What do you actually do?
I'm a financial advisor with Ameriprise Financial. I have a franchise called Malloy Financial Group, and we do investment advice, financial planning, insurance, estate planning.
How can people get in touch with you on that route?
They can go to the Ameriprise website, ameripriseadvisors.com, and my name, Bryan.L.Blackwell, and they can find me there.
Okay. In your view, what is the Cape Coral Community Foundation?
Cape Coral Community Foundation is really an organization meant to rally the community around this area to give back to nonprofit organizations. Mm-hmm. It really, as a foundation, a local foundation, we're really ambassadors for legacies. These folks, they have a legacy in mind, and they entrust us to be ambassadors of that legacy. Mm-hmm. So,
now, as an ambassador, what do you try to get to the public as an ambassador for the foundation?
Well, I think it's about first we want to meet the needs of the donor, and specifically, if they had very specific things that they wanted to accomplish, we have to make sure we do that with that endowment or whatever their wishes are. But I find often that there's a lot of folks out there that want to help, they want to give back, they just don't know really how, and they don't know what organization is the best organization, and so I think the Cape Coral Community Foundation can sort of act as a venue or an avenue for people to give back and let us do the work, and you can still be a part of that. And
would we as laymen who are not in that world, would we be surprised at the number of people out there who want to give back, who have wealth to donate or bequeath or whatever the terminology is, and they just don't know what to do with it?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I mean, even the wealthy and the people that have good intentions get busy too. And so they're caught up in their life. And or they might not understand, what the benefits are or how impactful it is. And so I feel like our job is to get out there, connect with people, allow them the pathway to give back. And yeah, to answer your question, I think you would be surprised. There's a ton of generosity in this town. I think one of the biggest problems in Fort Myers and Lee County and Cape Coral is that there is a lot of nonprofit organizations. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I take pride in that I think our CEO is really focused on is some of the other foundations and some of the other entities in the area focus on the bigger organizations, and we tend to like to focus on the smaller nonprofits that aren't really getting a lot of attention. So we want to help the little guys, the guys that are just starting up as a nonprofit, or are just smaller and still need help. Sometimes they get missed.
And most of the 90% or 100% of the people that you actually do services for are nonprofits.
Absolutely.
And I noticed that, and I'm going to get into that in more detail with Mike in the next part of the show. But you guys have been doing a lot of training on how to be effective nonprofits.
How to have success. So Michael's introduced a great program that we can actually take the development directors, the executive directors from a lot of these organizations in the community, and put them through training. Put them through training on development, on structure, on tax obligations, and a whole slew of different things that nonprofits are faced with.
Hadn't even thought about.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
A lot of times people just want to do well and to provide a great service to the community, but they haven't thought about all the nuts and bolts that go behind that to make it a substantial, long-term organization.
And so many of the smaller groups are doing it on their own. It might be a 1 or 2 man or woman show, so they don't know everything that they need to know. So it provides a great service saying, listen, we know you're taking on a lot of this. Here are some things that you really need to be focused on.
Excellent. When you look 5 years from now, I know we talked about it, I want to get your perspective too.
Sure.
5 years from now, what would be the ideal situation for the Cape Coral Community Foundation?
I think in particular, I would like the nonprofits in the area to know that the Cape Coral Community Foundation is the go-to place for resources, in the community, not just funds. We want to be a partner for them, and so if we start to be known as that partner, I think we've done come a long way.
Yeah, Bryan. One of the things I've noticed just in listening and all the things I've read and just an observation is that of all the shows that I've done here, I've interviewed over 15,000 people, covered many organizations over the last 28 years. As it relates to foundations, and I have interviewed people from foundations, I never heard that holistic approach from a foundation to the organizations that may be seeking funds, training them properly, people who may be able to donate funds, training them properly on where to do this, that, and the other. Just to seem like you was like all encompassing. I just think that's just fantastic. Along that way, bringing in younger people is a big thing as well, right?
Absolutely. We want to bring in, young, fresh ideas. I think we have to stick with, sort of contemporary ideas. What's going on? How can we be successful? How can we reach the community? I give Michael a lot of credit for really branching us outside of Cape Coral and into the rest of the community. And we welcome, any nonprofit. We want to make sure that whether we can actually help fund their organization or not, we want to make sure we connect them with another partner in the community or some other resource to make sure that they're still successful.
Well, I feel good personally knowing that we have a Marine sitting at the table in the boardroom and bringing all that, and then you got that financial background. That's just a win-win situation, man. Keep up the good work, okay?
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, as the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like the board member at the Cape Coral Community Foundation, Bryan Blackwell, who's doing a great job, who are doing it. We'll be right back.